What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Path of the Network Marketer. It is day 44, episode 44. All right, episode 44. Well, moving right along. We're coming up on 50 pretty soon, so that's pretty exciting. Lots happening on my end. 50th episode obviously is an exciting milestone to reach, a 50 out of 100. So almost at the midway point, and then we'll see what happens after 100. But yeah, things have really started to kind of shift and evolve, and in terms of where my focus is and what I'm really kind of targeting, in terms of my marketing and where all that's going. And I really love this journey, because like when I started all of it back in early this year in 2022, like at the end of the winter, early spring 2022, I started off with an idea, and that idea has since, evolved and changed and morphed into what it is today. And who knows, like by the end of the 100 days, it might be something completely different. We'll see. But it's exciting nonetheless to kind of be on this journey and evolve with the journey and learn new things and let it take me into avenues that I have yet explored. So I'm learning a lot. I shared with you guys just a couple of days ago, just a quick four episode series on how to start your own podcast, and I've expanded that just a little bit into an actual tutorial that you can download for yourself, and that's almost ready. That's actually going to be ready very, very soon. And I didn't have a set target date for the release of that, but I just thought of it right now. Since we're coming up on episode 50, I'm going to release it on our 50th day, right on our 50th episode. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you subscribe and follow the show so that you know how you can get your hands on that particular tutorial. It's really good. I mean, again, like my goal was to create a tutorial and a guide for you, so that you can launch your own podcast within, well, as simply and as quickly as possible. And I've honed it down to 4 days, right? But from start to finish, you can launch your podcast with this guide, with this tutorial in 4 days time. Um, yeah. So that's exciting. And then beyond that, like, yeah, I have my company's annual conference coming up in within that time frame. So it's going to be really, really busy and well, yeah, just in my own head juggling this stuff, juggling an episode every day. I My goal is to not to have to shoot and record at conference, because I definitely want to be there. I want to be present. But given that these episodes don't take any longer than 10 minutes, I may be able to kind of knock a few out here and there. But conferences for me are generally pretty busy. And they demand a lot of my time. So we'll just have to see. I am still dedicated to getting an episode out every day. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. So that's kind of, yeah, where everything is, and again how everything is evolving. I do have a particular topic that I wanted to talk about in today's episode. Was that, we kind of we finished yesterday's discussion on culture and what it means, and what it can mean, and what it should mean, and all this stuff. And I want to kind of not really backpedal, but I want to make sure that I'm communicating to you guys clearly, so that you know that anything that I say isn't concrete or definitive, or at least I want you to know that my perspective is just my perspective, and that I never want to present any of that perspective as authoritatively the only one singular way, definitively that this is how to do anything, right? Because it's just not true. I've said this, pretty continually over the years, and as a leader, that I don't speak in absolutes, right? So my word is not always bond, and I'm willing to concede that things can change, and my perspective is, yeah. I guess I want to keep. Well, I want to communicate to you all that my perspective is very, very fluid, in that I'm not ever going to be stuck in my ways, right? And I think part of the last two episodes for me was to communicate how stuck in our ways network marketers can be, right? Like I mean, it's just the profession itself is evolving so rapidly, but a lot I like in terms of like the market and how we serve the market, but like a lot of the mindsets and even just a lot of the jargon and the language still hasn't changed. Like when you still hear people say I'm fired up, right? Like that's old Amway language, right? That's old Amway language that just has gotten passed on, and people haven't stopped using it. And not that there's anything wrong with that particular language, but like it just goes to show you that have we really adapted as much as we say we have, right? Which I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna make a judgment, but my point is, like, nothing is set in stone. Nothing is set in stone, and I want you guys to really look at and consider, examine what are you carrying, and what are you storing in a mindset, in your own mindset, as definitions of what you do, definitions of how you do things, definitions of what leadership means in your business and your profession, definitions of what culture means in your business and your profession, definitions of what success means in your own business. Like all of that has to be very insular into just what you want it to mean, not what's been handed down to you. It doesn't have to be if you don't want to. And that was my whole point with culture, that again, I speak with so many quote unquote network marketing professionals, who have just, yeah, they have a very definitive idea of how things are, which, I mean, I get it, that's how things are for them, but it's not how things necessarily are is sorry it's not necessarily how things are for yeah, are is correct. It's not necessarily how things are for across the board for everybody, right? Again, as I said in yesterday's episode, your motivations, your drives, your experience is completely different than mine, then and therefore my notion and my definition of how to get there is going to be completely drastically different, right? All right, so I guess this today's talk is really just looking at your definitions and understanding that, number one, you don't have to buy into any definition that you don't want, even if it's your own sponsors. I'm not saying go start a war, go start a fight with your upline and your organization and your mentors or anything like that. No, not at all. I mean, we can be adults about this stuff. You can disagree, is my point. Like, you can disagree. You can be adult about disagreeing with certain ideas that don't jive with you, and you can create whatever culture you want. You can create whatever picture of success that you want. I mean, I think I talked about that already in the show, and like, what does success look like in network marketing? It looks like whatever you want it to look like, right? Culture, what does it look like? You can create any culture you want. Again, if there's a culture that is antithetical to who you are as an individual, don't let that steer you away from the profession, because the leadership is insisting that that's the way it is, because it's not the way it is. It's just the way they happen to do things. There is no the way it is outside of the way that you want it to be. Simple as that. So, again, be fluid in that. Be willing to adapt and change, and not to say that you shouldn't stand firm on anything. But it's just like it's really, yeah, I got into this business to create the life that I want, not to create the life that my upline wants, not to create the life that the profession thinks I should have. It's really for me, for my own terms, and for nobody else. That's all. That's all. So that's my message for today. Hopefully that makes sense. I might continue this discussion tomorrow because there's really a lot to say, but I don't know. Well, you'll just have to tune in. Anyways, the podcast guide is coming out in a couple of days. So at the very least, stay tuned for that. So until then, be well, be safe. I'll see you guys in the next episode.